Oh, I'm leaving that up for the whole time. You're going to have to stare at that this beautiful layout that we have here, and that's because we're doing something pretty unique. My longtime buddy Heather Wilmoth is here. We're talking about Huntington's, but rather than make the trip to Jackson to go to the main studio, she just came to this studio where I do mornings.
Well, I am technically the traffic director for this studio, and this is my first time seeing the
you've never been in this building ever.
I get locked down in Brookhaven, and I never get to come here.
Yeah, so we're doing a little side by side here this morning, and I love it. It works out great.
Yeah, it does look great. I could look better at 8 o'clock in the morning.
I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, Heather and I have known each other for a very long time, so you'll understand I'm saying this with love. I will thump you on the end of your nose live on camera if you keep running yourself down.
And that's a tame comment from you.
We're on the air. I'm trying to keep the license. Steve has strong feelings about that. So,
yeah.
I'm ready at a moment's notice. How you been doing?
Good. Can't complain. Wouldn't do any good if it did. Just busy. Huntington's has kind of taken over the life, and we've been doing things with that. Back in November, Nathan was a panelist for a patient-led, externally led patient listening session with the FDA, and I read his speech. So we had to go to Maryland for that. That was an adventure. Then a couple of weeks ago, had a round table with CMS about one of the medications Nathan takes. I don't think I can talk too much about that. But for the girl who never saw herself doing advocacy or any of these things, I've kind of jumped in. I was telling you before we came on.
Yeah.
I am the advocacy leader for Mississippi State Captain. But I'm a team of one, so if anyone out there wants to help me make change, not just in Huntington's disease, but a lot of these things would benefit other illnesses as well, which I guess I should explain. I'm so used to everybody in our company or our group knowing what Huntington's is. It's a terminal neurodegenerative brain disease that's like having ALS, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's all at the same time. My husband, Nathan, suffers from it. We found out last year my bonus child tested positive for it back in July. She's handled it great. She is going to follow in her dad's footsteps and do all the clinical trials that she can get. Our 10-year-old, it's funny how kids are. She's following in Nathan's footsteps. Our son Hayden is following in mine. You see him in the grocery store. If he's that kid that comes up to you and goes, "Hey, my dad has Huntington's." It's like, Hey, I mean, he's heard my speech so much that he's just taken up the charge too. So it's really
just like you. He's a very shy, withdrawn, wilting flower.
Right. He is so much like. Well, Nathan and I are both. That's why we were so compatible. Is that we never met a stranger, and Nathan still doesn't. His speech is very hard to understand. I liken it to when you have kids and you're the only one that understands what they say.
The little baby's like 1 year old.
Exactly. And sometimes it's like that. I mean, for the most part, he can kind of be understood, but there are times that people will go, "I don't know what he said," so I have to translate.
Well, I got a question for you.
What you got?
This. Dealing with a husband with Huntington's, just a little peek inside the life, if you will. If you had to narrow it down, what's the one biggest challenge that you face because of this in your life?
Well, all of it is a challenge, but honestly, and now you're going to make me cry, watching my husband slowly die in front of me.
That'll do it.
Yep. I mean, for a disease like this, we've been lucky and blessed. We got immediately connected to Jubin Wong at UMMC. They are now a center of excellence. He, in turn, connected us to UAB with Victor Sung, and we loved both of them so much that we kept them both. So we actually go to 2 centers of excellence with amazing doctors. Not everybody diagnosed with Huntington's has that.
Well, and the other part about that is a lot of people may be affected by it, but they're not diagnosed.
They don't know.
They have no idea what's happening.
Exactly. And see, we knew because Nathan's mom had it, but back then they thought that she was schizophrenic. And it just so happened this doctor that had experience with Huntington's, and this is before they had a way to test for it, saw her, took one look at her and said, she's not schizophrenic, she has Huntington's disease. A lot of people will get this shocking diagnosis, but it's probably because they had no idea their mom or their dad had it. They passed away before they started showing signs and symptoms, and that ends up being a case a lot. And there is a juvenile version, and that's a mother's biggest nightmare. So, as hard as it is on the adults, it's like horrendous on the kids.
Well, let me ask you this. As the state advocacy captain, maybe you can answer this. What are things that people should look at, should notice if they see happening to themselves or a family member that might lead them to possibly want to go get somebody to test them and see if this is affecting them? What are some telltale signs?
Well, with Nathan, he was dropping things. He had a lot of stiffness. Like he went to pick up a drink can one evening while we were still dating, and he did this wrist flick. I'm trying to make sure that you can see it on the camera. He did this wrist flick and then just went to grab the can, and his movement was very slow and very stiff. And I can remember thinking, why are you doing that? Why are you picking it up that way? And of course, I knew nothing about Huntington's other than his mom had it. I knew he could get it. When I met Nathan, I actually met Nathan through his sister. She and I were friends first, though she would never admit that. But anyhow,
drama incoming, everyone.
No. We love to pick at each other quite often, but she'll be one of the first ones that if anything happens, she's right there for me. And Nathan, obviously, they're very, very close. But I can remember when we started dating, hearing stories that Nathan and his sister would talk about things that happened with their mom. With their mom, it was more of a mental issue. So, if you have Huntington's in the family, it doesn't skip generations. If say for example, Nathan has Huntington's, we know he has Huntington's. Each of our children had that 50% chance of inheriting.
It's a roll of the dice. It's a flip of the coin.
Yeah. Well, for example, their mom had it. Nathan tested positive. His sister was negative. My bonus child tested positive last year. Our son together, he's 10, so they won't test him unless he starts showing the mental and the physical signs of Huntington's until he's 18. And then at 18, it's his decision. If he wants to get tested, I will support him 100%. If he wants to wait, I will support him 100%, because it is a personal choice to get tested, because that is a huge diagnosis to have to swallow.
Yeah, especially when it is, despite all the efforts, despite all the advancements, it's a diagnosis not much can be done about.
Nothing, really. There's no treatment. There's no cure. They can treat the symptoms. For example, chorea is a big thing with Huntington's. The movement issues. Some of them rock back and forth. Some of them, it looks like they're having seizures. Their arms flail, their legs flail, and Nathan takes a medication that we attribute to helping him. I mean, he still has some movement, but he can sit still and watch a movie. And we also attribute that to the fact of a lot of Huntington's patients will lose like a lot of weight and being nothing but skin and bones because the movements, they don't get enough calories in to counteract all the movements. And eventual end-stage Huntingtons, they are basically trapped in their bodies, cannot talk, cannot walk. You have to make the decision on whether or not to have a feeding tube and that kind of thing.
So, yeah, as a diagnosis goes, that would very much be a personal choice.
Yeah, because they don't call it the devil's disease for nothing.
Well, as usual, you and I sat down and started talking, and we haven't even talked about what you're here to talk about. So when we come back, this is a pattern with us. I'll just tell you right now.
We're catching up.
Yeah, how's Mom and him? Well, when we come back, we have a walk coming up,
Yes.
and we need your help. We'll talk about that next on Mornings with Richard Cross, with Dave Hughes, with Heather Wilmoth. He says, that makes perfect sense.
It's more of a bumper for me,
Well, welcome back. I was expecting Flight of the Bumblebee at this point, the way the first segment went. We're all over the place, bouncing
man.
into the walls.
Right.
I just thought it was a light, little light pick-me-up. I know it's a very tough topic and a very inspiring, story to listen to, and didn't want to play anything too heavy there.
Well, we've got with us Heather Wilmoth. With the Huntington's disease Team Hope Walk.
Yep.
That's coming up, next weekend,
May
right?
17th at the Flowood Nature Park. Registration begins at 8. Walk begins at 9. Now, we are flexible. So if there's a lot of people still registering, we'll hold off. We'll wait for you. Would love for everyone to come join us. It's for a great cause, Huntington's disease. There are over, the last numbers I had, there are over 200 families dealing with Huntington's. Well, that's not really an accurate number. For example, we're a family of 4 and we have 2. So this is a great way. When Nathan first got diagnosed, we felt so alone. We knew no one like us. You actually, and I gave you credit on this when I spoke with Rebecca.
I heard that.
You actually talked me into, hey, you need to create a Facebook page. You need to do social media. Try to find others like you. And we eventually did. And the group's still going, so I think you're still an admin on it.
Oh, yeah. I still get notifications when people ask to be joined into it, and I'm like, okay, good. This is still rolling.
Yeah.
Because that's the point, because you were talking to me. That's where that came from, about how you didn't know anything. You didn't know who to talk to. You didn't have anybody to discuss this with. And that's a problem in these kind of situations. And that's also, aside from the fundraising, that's part of the point of the walk.
That is a large point of the walk. Now, the fundraising, yes, because the funds from these walks help fund the Centers of Excellence. They help fund Education Days, which Mississippi just had its first one this past November. So, it funds things like this. It goes back into the community. But also, this is a way for people, especially newly diagnosed, to get together and be able to be amongst people who know what they're going through. Not every person that has Huntington's goes through the exact same thing, but there are a lot of similar things that go on with Huntington's.
And I would argue that events like the walk and like the support group and these other things have an impact on families that are dealing with this that never show up to the walk, will not join the meeting, will not show up for those, just knowing that it's there.
Right.
Just having it put in front of them, hey, I'm not the only one doing this.
We're being seen.
Yes.
Because, Huntington's is considered a rare disease. Approximately 41,000 people in the United States, with another 210,000 at risk. So, just knowing that there's someone out there going through the same things that we're going through was so helpful to us before we got a group. And so these walks are just, it's more, people come more for visiting and catching
Yes.
up
Yes.
than they do for the actual walk. And I've had people come up and go, "Hey, do I have to walk?" We're not that walk. We're that walk that if you want to walk, please, we have the area. This is where everybody will walk. But if you're not comfortable, or if you're visiting with someone who is going through a similar situation that you're going through, and you're bouncing ideas when the walk happens, more than happy for you to stay in the pavilion and catch up and get that information. I mean, the walk itself is a fundraising effort for the Huntington's Disease Society of America to help fund these centers of excellence where they know Huntington's. You know, a lot of people get a Huntington's diagnosis, get paired with a neurologist that has no idea what Huntington's is other than what they've read, or they might have had a 5-minute lecture on it while they were in med school. So, you know, these walks are so much more than just fundraising. And I mean, don't get me wrong, we need
Now,
the funds.
Having said that, you're always welcome to bring your wallet. And I will also say this: if you fall in that category of people who you're not going to show up to the walk, you're not going to join the support group, you can still help out financially as well.
Yes, you can visit or I think I may have put one too many in there.
That's close enough.
HDSA.org/THWMS. That stands for Team Hope Walk Mississippi. Feel free to join our Facebook page, Mississippi Huntington's Family Support and Awareness Group. Now, there are questions you will have to answer, because that's my way of protecting our members, making sure that it's not a fake profile, making sure that, I mean, we welcome anyone outside of Mississippi, but you have to have the understanding that this group is for people in Mississippi.
And also, no jerks.
Exactly.
No jerks allowed.
Yeah.
The internet's eaten alive with jerks.
Yeah,
so.
had an experience with that I have to tell you about off the air.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, but yeah, and you know, we just are so thankful, especially our SuperTalk family. I can't talk so. Get a little tongue-tied on statewide radio, Heather. There you go.
No talk pretty.
I don't talk pretty at all. But, you know, SuperTalk and our family here has been so good in helping us get the awareness, being a sponsor. SuperTalk's our biggest sponsor for the walk. And, you know, even on a personal level, anytime I've had to step away from my duties at Brookhaven and Pike County, you know, they've let me do it. Or if I've had to work from home because Nathan's gotten sick, you know, I couldn't work for a better company. You know, and technically I'm still kind of on my first radio job with WRQO.
Technically, yeah. There's some paperwork that happens, aside from that, yeah.
But, you know, second company I've ever worked for in radio, and it has just, both companies were great, but SuperTalk has just gone above and beyond. And, you know, just so appreciative of allowing us to come on every May and talk Huntington's, because May is Huntington's Disease Awareness Month. And Mississippi recognizes it. Former Senator Sally Doty helped us with that in the Senate, and Representative Becky Curry helped us with that in the House. So we are actually recognized. Now, if anyone wants to help us with the Light It Up Blue campaign, that is a campaign that goes on in May where businesses will light up in blue or purple for juvenile Huntington's. So if you light it up in blue, please let me know. I can be contacted at hthurgood. It's HTHURGOOD at yahoo.com, because I've had that email since email was an email.
I didn't know Yahoo still had emails.
They do. But that was the first email I ever had, and that's how everyone, you know, and everyone knows me as Heather Wilmoth, so I have to throw out the email there. So I would love to have pictures and share to social media and that kind of thing.
We got to see what we can do. There's got to be somebody that could light up a building in Jackson.
Right.
Blue.
Yes. We're working on one. Representative Curry is trying to help us out with one, but we would love for a whole lot just because Huntington's is such a rare disease. Now it's getting better, and even, some TV shows are even showcasing it just for a small bit. Now, some of them I don't like the way they end it, but it's starting to get some of that awareness, but we need a whole lot more, because I have a saying I say all the time, that with awareness comes funding, with funding comes research, and with research comes hope for a treatment or a cure. And that's what we really want. We don't want other families going through what our family has had. For lack of a better way of putting it, we've had an easier time in that we got connected to the right doctors. We got connected to a center of excellence. Our other doctor became a center of excellence. So we've got that care. And Nathan's wife is very proactive, and she found out lots of ways to get him some of the tools and tricks that help us. So, we've had a little bit of an easier road because of that. But there's so many out there, Dave, that just life is very, very hard. They don't have...
We're up against the break.
Okay.
Very quickly, give us the date, time, location.
May 17th, Flowood Nature Park, 8 a.m. registration, 9 a.m. walk. Please, please come join us.
And bring your wallet.
Bring your wallet.
Bring somebody else's wallet if you need to.
Bring all the wallets.
Yeah, just collect them on the way in. Always enjoy it.
Thank you.
You got to come do this again.
Next May, a definite.
Well, yeah. Hopefully before then.
Hopefully before then.
We continue on Mornings with Richard Cross, with Dave Hughes, with... Never mind. I'm not even going to do that again.